One of the other members of the Walking Stereotypes, who was actually an employee of mine at the Action Education Center, was a young man named Aaron Dumas, who was quite a poet and playwright, and among other things he wrote several plays, but one of the plays that he wrote was called The General's Coup, which was performed before PTAs and whatnot around the community. Well, I remember once that I was a program chairman for the Montlake School, so I arranged for them to present The General's Coup there. Prior to my election, most of the officers of the PTA were very conservative. They were very anti-integration, even though Montlake was becoming more and more an integrated neighborhood. And I can remember the president of the PTA trying to delay the program part of the evening where this General's Coup was going to be presented. And she kept bringing up all this little minutia, you know, and people were getting anxious. It was the first time the auditorium had been completely filled, maybe in decades, for a PTA meeting. And so the people participating in the play got tired of waiting, so it just started. So this Kathy Richmond I mentioned, who's white, was already sitting in the audience, and pretty soon these two big black guys come roaring down the aisle. This without, as I say, any introduction. And they grab her out of her seat and drag her out of the door, and some people are outraged and some are screaming, and this one teacher who was about 6'4", started grabbing one of the black guys, and another teacher, Mr. Aguilera, who was about 5 foot tall, got up and started rapping on his back and saying, "I think it's part of the play. I think it's part of the play." But it was pretty dramatic in that it envisioned a black revolution, and one of the key lines some were aghast at and some were highly amused by was where the general says, we have surrounded Seattle but found it unworthy of taking." And so anyway, it was quite an evening. At the next PTA meeting, even though I was a lawfully elected officer, I was kicked out of this home where the meeting was held, and a couple of other members of the PTA executive committee walked out in support. Happily, I had some support.